I gotta really commend the entire country of Brazil because you guys have like the best culture around.
E o Batman tá em São Paulo, hein? Olha o carro dele.
And I say this again because the movie I saw a couple months ago that I'm about to review is something that I've never learned before. I'm not super familiar with Brazil's politics or history. The only thing I know about Brazil is the music, the food, the culture, the women, and City of God, which is one of the greatest Brazilian films ever made, in my opinion. One of the greatest crime movies. But today I'm going to be reviewing I'm Still Here, which is the new Walter Salles film. If you don't know who Walter Salles is, he's a director who's been in the cusp for the past couple of years. Most notably, he did Central Station, which was a film back in the 2000s, which starred Fernanda Montenegro. And her performance was nominated for Best Actress around that time, and she was competing against Gwyneth Paltrow for that award. And I don't remember the entire logistics and the whole politics behind that two race, but I do remember that the lesser film won, especially since I saw Central Station earlier this year, just to prepare myself for this film. And I really love Central Station. It's one of my favorite movies now, and I think it's probably because of the performance alone from Fernanda. So going to that history in mind, I want to talk about I'm Still Here because the movie I saw a couple months ago back at the Toronto Film Festival was something really special because I never knew anything about the history behind the communist takeover of Brazil. And just the story of this main character, Eunice. And Eunice Palva was a woman who was held captive for several months during the Brazilian communist takeover. Her husband disappeared alongside with her, and she was at a moment in time where Brazil was kind of like in the uprising section of the government takeover, with a bunch of political people trying to take out a lot of their oppressors and criticizers. And this whole film is like deeply rooted inside of Brazil's history behind the communist takeover. And from the beginning, in the first 30 minutes, you start to see a lot of the backdrop of Brazil while also learning more about Eunice's family as they're going through this communist takeover. And again, like in the first 30 minutes, it's pretty happy. There's a lot of stuff that is like happening. Normal family stuff is happening. The whole family is enjoying like their beach day. They're going outside playing. They're watching movies. They're listening to music. They're being like normal people until, again, this military overtake starts to happen in the middle of all this, and Eunice is right in front and center, and she has to commit and become the stronger person, or more the better person in this situation. And yeah, like this whole narrative hook really got me because I've seen a lot of films that deal a lot with these kind of enclosed settings, especially when you're dealing with a historical background with communist takeovers. Here, it's more insular than like exterior. You're following this woman as she's trying to find her husband after she's held captive by these several militant people. And when she's out of the cell and out of the little section of her life, she has to kind of like bring back her emotions and try to restructure how to commit herself as a normal person while all of this stuff is happening between her family and her husband suddenly like disappearing. And yeah, like this was really intense. I enjoyed most of the film, although it does get a little bit repetitive throughout the entire film when you start to realize that the character is trying to like find her husband, she doesn't find her husband, and then it repeats over and over and over again until you get that final piece near the end, which I won't spoil, but I was kind of captivated by this film throughout. The performances are really strong, especially coming from Fernanda Torres, who is the daughter of Fernanda Montenegro, who also appears near the end of the film. She doesn't have a speaking line, but her face and her body structure and her emotions in the film near the end really speaks to the overall reaching theme of the film. And I thought Fernanda Torres puts in probably her best performance of this year. I haven't seen, again, any of her other works, but from what I'm getting, what I'm really reeling in with the film is that she really committed to the narrative and the actual person who survived a lot of this baggage. And I think she's really good. I've never seen her in anything else, but I want to see more of her. And just the direction alone, Salles kind of takes it a little bit down with the violence and kind of historical backlash of this communist takeover, instead of just showing the protest moments and violence and the exterior moments of this historical life. He kind of captivates this entire thing into an insular thing where you're just only focusing on the family and their internal struggles. And I really like that more than showing the exterior of the things, because I've seen movies that go like this where you're showing a lot of the protest stuff, you're showing the outside of the situation, but you never get to see a lot of the inside of people's lives when these things are happening. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I want to see it again, especially since I want to learn more about this woman's life, this family's life, and then also just to get a little bit more grasp with the second half of the film, as it gets a little bit repetitive. I think on a second watch, I can probably get a little bit more out of it again, especially if you watch it again with somebody who is really into history. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I think Fernanda Torres, I think she's in the 5th slot for Best Actress. I know people are underestimating her, but never count the country of Brazil. They can pull a lot of these fandoms out of thin air, and it could totally work in the Oscars' favor. And don't be surprised that this might actually overtake the international feature frontrunner, which is Emilia Perez, since that movie is kind of going down. I think I'm Still Here is the better alternative, in my opinion. And I think it's the one that will also resonate with a lot of audiences who get to see this film once it comes out later this month. And I think in the beginning of January, it's going to start to roll out quietly with Sony Pictures Classics spearheading the campaign. But yeah, this was really solid. I want to see this again, and I can't wait to watch it again. And I hope you guys enjoy this little small review of I'm Still Here. Yeah, subscribe, do whatever you need to do to spread the word out about this film, because I think it's a film that needs to be seen. Yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video. Take care. Peace out.